ordering of suggestions. Now there's a couple of things that you might want to listen to and take some time to assimilate here that are coming in the next session. Be reasonable in your order of suggestions, okay? Make them have a logical progression, and this will make them more acceptable and comfortable to the client. Remember that the client can accept or reject anything they want, and so the more attractive and reasonable the suggestions are, the better the opportunity for desired outcomes. Reasonable. Now, reasonable is a good word to consider when you're talking about clients embracing or rejecting suggestion, because something doesn't have to be fact to be embraceable to them. But if it seems reasonable, oh, I don't know, maybe not, that's reasonable. So even if there's that maybe not thinking going on, as long as it's reasonable in the context of the rest of the script and the development, you have a better chance of them embracing the suggestion. Okay, does that make sense?
Paradox?
Yeah. It's like if you present something that they might not really be inclined to accept, if the whole of the concept is reasonable, sure, why not? Come on along. That's what's going to happen. And what do we mean by being reasonable with the order of suggestions? Say you're writing, let's go back to the smoking thing, because there's money there. Say you're writing a smoking cessation script, and the flow of the script should follow from start to finish in a logical, natural, and reasonable progression from the beginning of being a smoker to being a non-smoker. Excuse me. Try not to fluctuate from stage to stage and back again because you thought of something else that might be really cool about being a non-smoker, and order your concepts in a reasonable progression. Once you've established in trance, and what I mean is, once you've established in trance and made the statement that someone is a non-smoker, you don't want to go backward in the process and have a suggestion like, now when you smoke, you're awkwardly aware of the cigarette in your fingers. Well, you just told me I'm a non-smoker. Why would I have a cigarette in my fingers? You've just destroyed the reasonable progression of the script. Okay? So if you're going to do those things about awkward feelings of the cigarette between your fingers, sure, go ahead and use them in that thing but put them before you give them that one command that says that they are no longer smokers. Okay? That makes it reasonable. You never want to reestablish an old pattern that you just worked on getting rid of. It's counterproductive. A lot of people like to establish freedom from smoking and then use deepeners like, now that you're a non-smoker, you enjoy that as we count down, you move further and further away from ever wanting cigarettes again. It's a suggestion that has the best of intentions, but it can be rephrased in a more positive way. In a more energized way. The same concept from a different approach is further and further away from smoking. Oh, wait a second, I just lost my place. You want to think of it in terms of now as a person free of smoking, you become more and more energized with the strength and vitality of life without tobacco as we count down. So what you're not doing is you're not focusing on drifting further and further away from smoking, you're becoming more and more energized of being free of smoking. You know, it's kind of one of those. It's where you get into your own space and you say, is this going to be how it feels true? Now, both of those suggestions those examples I just gave you are both perfectly good suggestions. One is not wrong, one is not right. It's just in my experience, if you can take that thing, once you've released the pattern you've broken, keep moving forward and you know, get energized about what you now are, rather than sinking back thinking, okay, I'm getting further and further away from it, you know. The other thing is about that getting further and further away, if you consider this, is that you're saying goodbye. You're saying goodbye to cigarettes. And you're watching it go further and further, 10, 9, 8, and goodbyes are sad, you know? So you see the chance of rejection there with that tying it into saying goodbye, especially with people who think smoking is their friend, you know? Instead, we swell the positive that grows, and the effectiveness will also increase, okay? The order of suggestions and awareness of content. Just having good order isn't quite enough, okay? You need to also be aware of the content. Just like the statement by the king that Mozart's music had too many notes. If you cram too many good concepts into a single script, the overall effect becomes muddy, okay? That's my problem. I told you, I confessed earlier, you know, I get a little long-winded. Keep to one or two concepts for clarity. You know, don't fill out a concept and then go, here's another really great concept to help you work on this problem. And you know what, here's another one as a bonus, you know. One or two is enough, you know. And you want to flesh them out fully. And using smoking again. You don't want to focus on the benefits of being tobacco-free and then fill out the concept of aversion therapy, which I'm not real big on anyway, and then being unaffected by other smokers and build that whole atmosphere, and then, you know, possibly turning into a militant non-smoker, you know, things like that. The result would, in a nutshell, be getting the client excited about the accomplishment, then having cigarettes cause negative effects, and then on cigarettes being a non-issue when others around them smoke. So why would you buy that a cigarette here is going to make you really nauseous and imagine that you're, you know, puffing on the tail end of a rat, but a cigarette in someone's hand right next to you is perfectly okay? That's not reasonable. The content clashes, okay? So it has to be true. It has to be reasonable. It has to be something that they're going to buy into. If using multiple concepts or approaches, be aware of how they're complementary or conflicting with each other. Great suggestions do no good when other great suggestions cancel them out in the client's mind.